Sometimes the truth has a price. That may be the lesson of a Virginia police officer who says in trying to do the right thing, he ended up paying for it. Of one man who confronted truth and consequences.
This is the Truth and Consequences podcast with Doug Poppa. From Las Vegas, Nevada, this is episode 74 for Sunday, November 14th, 2021. This is another exclusive news story investigated by Truth and Consequences with Doug Poppa. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officers are ordered to downgrade felony crimes to misdemeanors and falsify the crime classification in police reports to reduce violent crime statistics, according to police personnel. The order came down through the chain of command from Clark County Sheriff Joseph Lombardo, who runs the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Police officers have been complying with this illegal order for fear of receiving disciplinary action from their supervisors if they refuse to downgrade the crime classification in the police reports. One veteran officer with intestinal fortitude stood tall and told his supervisors to shove it and failed to comply. I will get to this man of integrity in a few minutes. This order is valley-wide and in all area commands, I was told, and is relayed to the line officers by word of mouth. One source said, quote, "Nobody has seen it in writing, at least at the lower level. They are covering their ass on this one too. They are doing it face to face." When police officers do question this illegal action, they are told by their sergeants that, quote, "That's how they want it done. I'm just passing down what they want. That's the way they want us to do it. That's the way we're going to do it." The officers reluctantly comply. It's all done to fudge the numbers, to lower the stats on robberies and sexual assault crimes, I was told. The murder rate in the city of Las Vegas and Clark County is up over 60%. Police personnel said that Sheriff Lombardo, who is a candidate for governor of Nevada, can't do anything about the rising murder rate statistics, hence the order to declassify the violent crimes of robbery and sexual assault. This has been going on for well over a year, I was told. It's all about manipulating the numbers so Lombardo can lower the crime stats. Here's how it works. Under Nevada law, using force, threat, or intimidation during a larceny crime makes it robbery, which is a felony, a strong-arm robbery, even if no weapon is displayed during the commission of the crime. If a battery occurs during a petty larceny, under Nevada law, that makes it a robbery. When officers are writing up their report, the crime should be classified as a robbery, I was told. However, the sergeants intervene and tell the officers to change the classification to either a larceny, a battery, or any other crime but not a robbery. The officers still write in the narrative section of their report what actually occurred based on their investigation. That remains the same. It's the crime classification on the report that they are being told to falsify. When the police reports are forwarded to the Clark County District Attorney's Office, the prosecutors can turn around and say this meets the element for a robbery, we'll do it that way. If they prosecute under robbery, the lower crime classification on the original police report remains the same. The District Attorney's Office can upgrade charges as they wish, but that doesn't affect the actual police report crime classification on how it was reported, I was told. The District Attorney's Office has to know what is going on, because they should be questioning why violent felony reports are being classified as other crimes, but that's another story for another time. How do you downplay a sexual assault, a rape of a female, on a crime classification on a report? I asked. Sources said they have a lot of mentally ill people who call in and say they were sexually assaulted. They may have been, but it is not classified as such when the responding police officer takes the report. If a person calls in from any type of treatment center, rehab facility, or any place where somebody has any type of mental illness, they are changing the crime classification from a possible sexual assault to a sick or mentally ill person's report. A sexual assault in the Las Vegas Metro Police Code is a 426. They switch it, I was told, from a 426 sexual assault to a 421A, which is the code for a mentally ill/sick person. So the crime report will show as a sick or injured person report. The officers do put in the details in the narrative section of their report, possible sexual assault. The sexual assault detail will still get that report, and they will still do their investigation. However, the original crime classification on the police officer's report will never change. So therefore, you are going to lower the actual number of sexual assault reports, and those numbers for statistical analysis will go down drastically. Another way they are doing it, I was told, is when intoxicated females file a police report and think that they may have been sexually assaulted, which happens a lot, I was told, especially in the summer months when females get drunk at pools, hotels, etc. They pass out and end up in the hospital. They think they got drugged. They may be sore in their genital area, but the possible sexual assaults are handled as a 416B, which stands for other disturbance. That's the catch-all, I was told, so it's not classified as a possible sexual assault crime. Because the reports are being intentionally misclassified, Lombardo can say they are not getting hammered with sexual assaults, even if the crimes are actual sexual assaults, when they are investigated by the sexual assault detail. Sources said, as an example, you will get maybe 3 actual sexual assault crimes, but 10 sick or injured persons reports. The initial classification remains the same, no matter what the actual investigation determines. Earlier, I stated that one police officer stood tall and refused to follow the illegal order to falsify his report. According to sources, that person was former robbery detective Eddie Laneve, spelled Laneve, who is currently assigned to the Las Vegas Metro Police Airport Bureau at McCarran International Airport. It just so happened that a strong-arm robbery complaint fell into Eddie Laneve's lap one day. I was told Laneve went off airport property during lunch, which is allowed. While on his lunch break, Laneve got flagged down by a citizen who had been the victim of a strong-arm robbery. Laneve called it in and handled the report. He could have just called it in and let the South Central Area Command Patrol officers handle the call, but I was told that is not the kind of cop Eddie Laneve is, so he handled it. Eddie Laneve is a 25-year veteran of the police department and, like I said earlier, a former robbery detective. In 2000, Laneve received the department's Meritorious Service Award for his action that February when he dove into the water during a heavy downpour after being told there was a submerged car that might have a person inside. He swam down to the vehicle only to find that the occupant had already escaped. As you can see from the screenshots in this episode, Eddie Laneve was also one of the detectives who was involved in the robbery investigation of O.J. Simpson in 2007 that led to Simpson's arrest and later conviction for armed robbery and other charges. After handling that strong-arm robbery complaint during his lunch break, Laneve returned to the airport property and filed his report. I was told Laneve filed his report in the computer system with the proper crime classification of robbery, because that's what it was, a strong-arm robbery, which is a felony. His sergeant, Daniel Nunes, after reviewing Laneve's report, called him in and ordered him to change the crime classification from a robbery felony to a petty larceny and a battery, 2 misdemeanors. I was told Laneve refused to change his report and falsified the report, as he was being ordered to do by Sergeant Nunes. From what I was told, Laneve told Nunes he was a robbery detective for years, and he knows what the elements of a robbery are under Nevada law, and that a strong-arm robbery is a robbery, that a battery that occurs during a petty larceny elevates the crime to robbery, a felony. Laneve flat-out refused to do it, and Nunes responded, that's the way they want to do it now. Laneve again told Nunes that he knew what a robbery is and wasn't going to change his report. I was told Laneve was brought into Lieutenant Peter Kisfalvi's office, that's Kisfalvi, but he stuck to his guns, no pun intended, and did not change his report. I was told that Sergeant Nunes spelled N-U-N-E-Z, had police officer Jerry Ybarra, spelled Y-B-A-R-R-A, go into the computer reporting system and change Lenev's report from a robbery to a petty larceny and a battery, 2 misdemeanors. Now my closing comments. First of all, my hat goes off to Eddie Leneve for his commendable action in refusing to falsify a police report and not backing down when he was being given what amounts to an illegal order by his superior, regardless if that directive came from the office of the sheriff, Joe Lombardo. Falsifying crime classifications and police reports to lower crime statistics that are then forwarded to the state of Nevada, and to the U.S. Department of Justice is nothing short of criminal. I heard that Eddie Leneve may have been given a statement of complaint for his refusal to follow his superior's order. If that is true, maybe Lombardo will shit-can it now that I exposed, which should lead to an investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice and State of Nevada officials. Listen up, folks. Lombardo's entire chain of command, from what I was told, are complicit in this. That is everyone from Lombardo's undersheriffs, both present and past, assistant sheriffs, deputy chiefs, captains, lieutenants, all the way down to sergeants. Because apparently no one in the chain of command at the Las Vegas Metro Police had the guts to say this is wrong and we are not going to be part of this. One police officer did do the right thing, and that was Officer Eddie Leneve. In episodes 54 and 56, I exposed Sheriff Lombardo's cover-up of police negligence that led to the 2019 kidnapping and rape of a 12-year-old girl. Much more to be exposed in future episodes of what goes on behind the doors at 400 Martin Luther King Boulevard in Las Vegas, or as it's affectionately called by Metro police officers, the Tower. Before I close this episode, in my opinion, if all of what I was told is true, and I have no reason to believe otherwise, the public, along with the FBI, can take the Las Vegas Metro Police crime statistics that Sheriff Lombardo releases, print them out, and use them for toilet paper. Thanks for listening, folks.